Hey, it's Eric from Showup. Thanks for joining us for another tutorial. This is the 120 BPM warm-up tutorial. So we're going to start by taking a nice breath, making sure our feet are under us, we're balanced. We're going to look off to the right. Now when we take our chin over our shoulder to the right, you're going to feel a stretch in your trapezius muscles, sternocleidomastoid, so the front and the back of your neck. As we move over to the left side, you might notice that maybe the right was a little bit tighter, or maybe your left side is a little bit tighter. It's always nice to kind of notice these things, and then after the warm-up you can go back and continue to stretch if you need to. As we look up, we just want to make sure that we keep our chest lifted and our shoulders down as we continue to stretch out different parts of the neck. Now I'm going to show you just a small option to kind of open up the ribs a little bit more. So kind of rolling the shoulders back and then pushing through your upper spine when you come down. That's just another way to do it. So now we're going to tilt our head over to the side, and it's basically tilting side to side, but I like to engage the obliques there, create some length on one side and crunch on the other. And as we switch, we're going to move through the body and the feet. You know, dancing is just such a full body activity. I always like to incorporate a lot of full body movement, even into some of the smaller stretches. So simple enough here, we're going to start to roll our head around to the right, and it's just going through the body. And kind of like I just said, we're going to start to make sure that our feet are wide enough that we can engage the full body. And so yeah, our neck is rolling around, but we're also going to take our entire body through the space, and that just helps us loosen up some of those back and chest muscles that we haven't really gotten into, or especially if it's the beginning of the day and you're watching this, you want to make sure that everything is sort of getting some attention. So this is good for the neck, the shoulders, and when you add the full body, it's good for the back and the chest and the hips. So the next move is essentially just a shoulder roll, but we're going to include the arms so we can really get a stretch through the shoulders. This is working our rotator cuff, rhomboid, deltoid, still some of that back of the neck trapezius. And as you look at me to the side here, you'll notice that my heart really comes forward as the arms go back, and then I push through in my mid-back. This kind of continues to loosen up the ribs and get into some of those smaller spaces, like by our lungs and our diaphragm, which will also help prepare us to sing if you're a choir watching this. If you're not a choir watching this and you want to sing, I'm all for it. But we want to go forward and backward to make sure we find some balance here. Now as we switch to one arm, I'm kind of showing you really slowly, but that's just to kind of express really how we're going to open up the side. So as you open the side body there, you should feel a real stretch through your guts, and just try to reach as far as you can to the back and as far as you can to the front. We sort of want to make a seamless transition through these shapes as we plie and bend our legs, and just keep moving through the entire body. So this next move is continuing to create more space in our heart, in our ribs, in our lungs, in our back. It's just so important, so we have a couple of stretches that go through those same muscle groups. So if you watch in the video, it's pushing our heart forward, lots of space, and then plie and push into our mid-back. So just trying to be really, really soft and expressive through these muscles. So the next stretch is chest circles. So we're going to start by going forward and then tilting to the right to make a circle. So just kind of like our neck rolls, where we start to engage the hips in the back. You're going to see me doing this here, and again, dancing, full body, full body. We always want to engage everything that we can. So now as we continue kind of down the lines of our body, we get into the hips, where we just want to kind of dig down and up and really think of hiking that hip up high so we can get a good crunch in our obliques and then push through all of those kind of inner core muscles. So the next part is just a simple ankle roll. Just go through it a couple of times softly. You might feel some cracks and creaks in your ankles, and that's totally normal and fine. It's actually what we want to get out, is that air trapped in between your bones. So as we plie for the next section, just go straight down through your heart and lift the arms up. In this gesture, we want to think about keeping our shoulders down and away from our ears, and just kind of breathe in all the air that you can to keep our heart rhythm settled and find balance. So yeah, keep those shoulders down, take a deep breath. We've got a nice line in our arms, which looks really good and helps us find lines when we're on stage. So as we move through the next flow, we're gonna plie and scoop up. I always look up just a little bit. It kind of helps keep my balance under me. You'll also notice that my feet are nice and flat and my legs are locked in and strong. So if you imagine the front of your hips here, we don't want those to get tilted and out of alignment. So try to keep that locked in straight across when we stretch over. This continues to extend through our side and makes for a nice stretch on that side body. So I'm just pushing through the shape here, making a full circle. You can use your legs and kind of open up that side. So now as we go back, you want to check in with yourself and make sure it's a flat back coming down. We still have strong legs in that A-frame shape, and then we plie and bend the single leg and then just extending that. So we should feel a hamstring stretch here. If your hamstrings are really tight, it's going to be tough to grab that ankle. So if you can't grab your ankle, grab your shin, your knees, something nearby. As long as you feel balanced and you're not in any pain, then you're probably doing okay. As we push over into this runner's lunge, we just want to make sure that that front knee is tracking over our ankle and our back heel is pushing past the ankle. And we want to have balance right near the center. If you can lift your arms, that's like a good way to test if you're balanced. But we're going to keep that back hip pushed forward and everything is nice and square to that side wall. Then push up into the next A-frame position. So once you lock your legs in and you feel balanced, tilt your heart forward, trying to keep your lower back flat. And this is just another hamstring stretch. So this will have a lot of variation in the angles of the different people in your classroom. So just do what you can safely and you should feel that stretch. So this next one, as we plie and bend the knee, it just kind of intensifies that stretch as we grab the toe and pull back, trying to keep our hips high and back and not sitting on our foot. So we just push back into that lunge position that helps us transition to open up to the front. So now this move is a hip opener. We want to keep our chest up and our heel down as we feel a little bit of pressure opening the side of the hip. So that's me showing you with your heel up. It means your foot is underneath your hips. Get a wider stance and you'll be able to put the heel down and take the knee out to open it up a little bit. So with this transition, we want to go straight across to the other side. Try to not arc like a rainbow. Think one line flat across the table and just move straight across, as straight as you can. The last part of this set is just lifting our hips up high and leaning down. Some people like to swing their arms side to side here. That's a ragdoll pose. So you can do that, or you can just get another stretch in the hamstrings. Bend your knees a little bit and then start to roll up, thinking one vertebrae at a time as you stack until you get to the top of your head. But in the next section, we're just doing the opposite side. So now breathing in, reaching over, pushing through, just more of the same and paying attention again, like I mentioned at the beginning, on this side, how is it different? Is it the same? Do I need to spend a little more time, or is this one feeling good or maybe even better than the other side? So just kind of checking in with ourselves and making sure that we feel balanced. Again, just looking at that proper stack, 90 degrees, knee over the ankle, heel past the ankle, hips square to the wall. I know I'm a little tighter on this side, so I can't quite dip down as far with my heart. So just being mindful of how you feel and keeping your back flat. Checking in with your balance all the way. We always want to be balanced the whole time. Back out into that lunge. And you'll see that I do like little moves to help me transition. So feel free to mimic some of those little bouncing gestures that I do to settle into place. That's totally fine. And hips up. I went with the ragdoll this time, plie, and stand tall. So the last part of this is just a couple of leg stretches and hip flexor stretch. This is standing quadricep stretch. It's good for your quads and your hip flexor. You don't want to tilt out like that. Try to keep your knee pointing straight down right under your hips. I sort of reach back with my other hand there to get a little bit more of a stretch. You've probably done this if you do any kind of running or sports. It's a coach favorite. And then we're going to try to transition without stumbling or touching the floor, but you want to swing your knee up and then grab onto it, pull it into your chest. I do a few ankle rolls here and extend it and settle back down to do the other side. So same thing, pulling my left back, quadriceps stretch. Took me a second to get my balance there. If you need help with your balance, you point on the floor like I'm doing in the video, and that helps you kind of lock in. That's actually something I learned from a military guy. And then pull your knee up. See, my left side is worse. I can feel it. And extend to finish. I just kind of swing a few times to keep everything nice and loose and feeling good. So this arm stretch across your chest, lots of people use this for a lot of different types of warm-ups. We don't want to keep your shoulders high, so the key is going right across the letters, right across the top of your chest, and I do a couple of little knuckle cracks there because it feels nice. So keeping the shoulders low and the arm right across the chest. So hold it static for a few seconds just to feel good. There's space, ears to your shoulders. And then I swing my arms up. Now I'm pulling my elbow behind and you can see my neck. You don't want to put your chin down like that and pinch. You want to expose your neck and your collarbone into the mirror, keeping nice long front. From behind you can see me reaching back and kind of tapping the middle of my back with my hand. And that just kind of shows where your hand lands behind your head. So hold it static for a few beats and release. Alright, so we're just going to swing through the arms a little bit. This is the old Michael Phelps. Give yourself a nice dynamic hug. And then we're going to shake through the hands. Shake down, shake out, jump up and down, shake up. And we're done! Congratulations! Y'all are ready for the warm-up.